What if I told you that somewhere in the world, Ojamas actually just almost topped a YCS, and we have Ghoti fish as along with some other very interesting decks. Make sure you smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Ojama Horus Adventure almost topped YCS Japan over the past weekend. They barely missed out. They were 7-1 with this pile of cards. Think about that. 7 wins and 1 loss with this deck. If anybody in the TCG wants to gear this up and take this to an event and even remotely do well with this, please do. I want to see how crazy we could see a pile of cards like this actually get the chance to succeed, because there's so much going on with this, especially when you can Ojama simulation or whatever, search for the Dark Armed Dragon and actually be able to use it. But this is an example of extremely crazy moving pieces in a deck, and all of it kind of coming together underneath one very interesting actual goal. So I'm impressed. I really am. Next up was the Ghoti fish shark pile with the white cards. Now, for everything that I have seen with this deck, I played against this a couple times on Nader Pro for playtesting. When this deck goes, well, besides my comment section telling me, no, you don't play shark cards with this, it top 32 to 4,000 man event. Like, it's worth looking at. Like, trust me, if you've played against this deck and you've seen it, get the chance to go through the combo lines. Also, I mean, goes in match with Stealth Kraken is still 100% a very real threat that they can set up on you. So, keep in mind, all the moving pieces that you have with all the engines working together, and then all of a sudden, now you have to deal with a white aura whale, and you're SOL. Like, that's honestly what it feels like. This deck has such a stupid high ceiling for what it feels like. Yeah, I don't have anything else to really say, but if you just want to randomly lose to a deck, this is probably it, honestly. Next up was the legendary Centurion deck that I've talked about that was playing the Nader Servant package. Now, basically, you go through your entire combo lines, King Calamity, level 12, Synchro to the moon, and then this deck was playing a Maximus package for Ints and Garua to get some draw power, and Nader Servant as well. And honestly, looking at how this was kind of working together, I was pretty impressed, honestly. Honestly, yeah, we are main decking double super poly, so you can cancel out some of the big problems with the meta, but this deck kind of went above and beyond a lot of the expectations that I feel like players were pretty much feeling that they needed to be able to kind of handle. And that's important, all right? You got to remember, biases and coming out of your comfort zone in this game for tech choices is always going to be one of the things that can set you apart from the rest of the community. Next up was one of our Minkanko decks. Now, the reason why I wanted to look at this is, keep note down here that they are playing the Full Armored Exceed package. The Full Armored Exceed package actually kind of gives this deck a little bit more defensive play. One of the things that I've kind of noticed about playing this deck is sometimes you kind of run into issues with needing to clean out the game. All right, and your Full Armor package can actually help you with that. Now, do keep in mind, I mean, you are getting the chance to play one of the little purple card there next to the Minkanko, has to do with equips. And we've actually seen this card out of, what was it, a couple weeks ago. We saw Minkanko just clean cut through the next play tournament. And, I mean, that event is usually pretty stacked with competitors. So, kind of keep in mind that this deck, when compared to the TCG version, is missing a couple of things that really can make the difference for putting this, a little bit more on the map. And, of course, like I said, that Full Armored Exceed package. And then, of course, we have another Minkanko deck over here. Now, this one also caught my attention because there's the Nader Servant package again with Maximus. All right? We're seeing Garua Ints and, I mean, even like Herald being cards that are being used out here for this package. You have 2 different ways to approach the same deck. So once again, I mean, we're putting another notch on the Nader Servant note here for people to kind of go, huh, maybe I do want to give some consideration to this. Yes, you do. All right, and then of course, I mean, all the boring equips in the world. I see that we are playing Sheridan in here as well. You know, we're also playing a Lava Golem in here. So you have a lot of very cute things that you can do with a deck like this. Don't be surprised, you know, if you were playing against this and you're like, oh, you know, where did that come from? Well, you probably just lost the game. And then I also want to toss this in here. This is one of the Snake Eyes decks that kind of showed up over the weekend as well. We were seeing more and more of the Framberge Dragon finding its way into the meta. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't think that Snake Eyes would be successful in any sort of capacity, but they did get just a little bit of support. You know, Diabellstar's pet got the chance to show up. Now suddenly, you know, you're getting all of this insane value from these huge link plays. And of course, it is Year of the Fire, and the Promethean Princess has just been a crazy card for the things that it's adding into, you know, the power level of this deck. So this is just another good example of fire good cards getting the chance to plow through the meta out here and destroy things. Oh, I hope you got your Diabellstar cards, because this is going to be another crazy ride out here. Next up, we have a mini tournament that Heroes ended up winning. So we're going to be covering all 4 deck lists for this, and I'm not going to lie to you. When I saw Heroes, I was like, really, we're doing this? Deck is playing double Wake Up Your Elemental Hero, which kind of feels like a lot. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's already extremely rare that Hero is even trying to keep up with the meta at this point in time. It does prove that people still look at the deck, and especially for, you know, Japan being more localized events and things like that, you do gotta keep in mind that, you know, a deck like this can very easily win. You know, good old Dark Law down there as well. Yes, Dark Law is still a problem in the year 2023. You know, we just did lose Cached Hero, so that's kind of something to really consider out here. But also Red Reboot. Yeah. Also, the one of Thrust to be able to toggle into any of the good cards that the deck actually has going for it. Incredible. Next up here, we have a very, very interesting, I would say, ramblings of what's left of the power of Albas in France. Keep in mind that they have branded Fusion put to 1, which means, meanwhile, while the TCG is like, hey, you know, this deck's doing nothing, the OCG is still forced kind of into this. But they still have Expulsion, which still means that they can do Gimmick Puppet BS and, you know, hand it on over to the opponent. TCG, we don't have Expulsion. We don't have to worry about that. But, you know, there are some very major key differences here that do make for a worse experience for this. I honestly am impressed, though. Even with Branded Fusion put to 1, this deck still finds a way to kind of claw its way up to the depths of the meta. And, of course, this build is sporting off Maximus and the Nader Servants. So, you know, Garua value or Ints value has got to be a little bit more insane. Once again, I mean, you're just trying to generate as much advantage as you can in a deck like this. Next up here is Horus NATA. I will say that I have been genuinely intrigued by seeing this deck actually showing up. Alright, like, it's really cool that you have all of these different moving pieces out here that have been contributing to the success of this. Obviously, the TCG is not going to really get the chance to enjoy this because, you know, we lost some of our key Nat Sharia cards, but that's fine. All right, let the OCG get the chance to enjoy this. I mean, Big Horus and also the triple field spell. Actually, the craziest part is, guess what? You have 6 sarcophaguses now, which means you're going to have to deal with a lot more of the dumb insanity that kind of comes with this deck, plus the infinite negates that start piling, well, not really infinite, but the cycle of the negates that start piling up, start to give the opponent what we're going to call the bad time. So this deck did manage to get 3rd place, which honestly is pretty impressive out of its event. And our last list we're going to be looking at here is Subterror. Holy crap. Finally. Triple destructive Daruma Cannon. Makes sense? I see nothing wrong here. So we're playing triple the Embodiment, continuous trap as well. It's kind of unique. Holy Pots. We're playing triple extra, have 2 duality, 1 copy of the Pot of Prosperity. Double Shifter in here as well. I mean, to be fair, like, this deck doesn't really give 2 craps if it's under Shifter. Like, it's going to go, haha, flip, haha, and go back down. Like, it's floodgates with a consistent negation engine to put pressure on the opponent. and it tends to work out. So what do you guys think? Please, comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.